Most of us approach the workday by trying to brute force our way through tasks. We push through continuous 6-hour stretches, scroll social media between emails, and use caffeine to override signals our bodies send us. This creates the Zeigarnik effect, the tendency for the brain to stay alert to unfinished business. Every half-finished email and unreturned call stays active in your subconscious bandwidth, creating a persistent cognitive drag that makes it harder to settle into deep work. We often treat the brain like a computer hard drive built for nonstop processing. But your brain is a living organism, strictly governed by shifting chemical states and rhythmic oscillations that dictate when you can actually perform. To bypass this drag, we have to look at the day as a 24-hour chronobiological timeline. By aligning specific actions with your brain's natural schedule, you can intentionally prime your hardware for peak output. Aligning effort with your natural chemistry turns your physiology into a tool for high-level performance, rather than a barrier you fight against every afternoon. The optimization begins within 30 minutes of waking. Getting natural sunlight in your eyes signals to your brain that the day has started, anchoring your circadian rhythm and setting the timing for melatonin release later that night. Before engaging with digital noise, you need a period of silence. This gives the prefrontal cortex, your logic center, space to boot up without external distraction. Historical figures like Nikola Tesla used these silent hours to establish mental clarity before the world's demands could crowd in. A cold shower provides a secondary chemical boost. Short bursts of cold exposure trigger a massive release of norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter that increases alertness and attention without the side effects of artificial stimulants. Following this with a 10-minute meditation creates a physical reset. Sitting in silence and observing your thoughts without reacting helps shrink the amygdala, reducing your baseline emotional reactivity for the hours ahead. These early steps aren't about producing work. They're about deliberately setting up the neurochemical conditions that make high-level output possible later in the day. This chart tracks ultradian rhythms, 90-minute cycles where alertness naturally peaks. After deep concentration, resources deplete, entering a recovery state. Hitting that dip, a 20-minute nature walk activates the default mode network, an idle brain state where creative problem-solving occurs. Steve Jobs leveraged this biological loophole during his famous walking meetings. He understood physical movement triggers the neural networks needed to break through cognitive blocks. Fueling the afternoon requires neuro-friendly foods, like salmon or blueberries, eaten away from screens. Eating while distracted spikes cortisol and disrupts the digestion your brain needs to maintain steady energy levels. High-level cognitive output depends on these strategically scheduled periods of disconnection. Without them, you are simply trying to run a depleted system. In the evening, the brain shifts towards processing. Engaging in unstructured curiosity, reading about a random topic without a specific goal, stretches your mind and keeps the brain's learning systems agile. To cement what you've learned, you use the teach-back trick, explaining a concept out loud as if to a child, a method often attributed to Richard Feynman, forces your brain to organize and simplify information, turning it into long-term intuition. Before sleeping, a mental load dump is essential. Rapidly writing down every lingering task and worry tricks the brain into feeling the loops are closed, which helps eliminate background anxiety before you rest. Finally, journaling one single unsolved problem from your day primes your subconscious to process that specific dilemma during sleep, often leading to a clearer perspective the next morning. Intelligence is physically constructed via neurogenesis during sleep. By ending your day with these habits, you are setting the stage for your brain to upgrade its own hardware while you rest. Cognitive capacity expands through a daily cycle of intense focus followed by intentional stillness. This oscillation is what allows the brain to recover and perform at limit day after day. You don't have to adopt 20 new habits at once to see results. Start by picking just one specific habit from each phase of the day, morning, midday, and evening, and letting them compound. When you consistently pair disciplined effort with a biological reward, you rewire your dopamine system to crave the process. You start viewing the grind itself as a win. As this momentum builds, you reach a state where deep focus and emotional control become automatic responses, rather than things you have to fight for each morning. You can build unstoppable cognitive momentum the moment you stop fighting your biology and start working in harmony with the natural rhythms of your own brain.